so much. I love you so much. I love you so much. I love you so much.
Hello, all you positive heads out there. Thanks for tuning your beautiful brainwaves into another episode of the Positive Head Podcast, where we are firmly convinced that creating success and happiness is rooted in understanding the ultimate nature of reality and the fact that as human beings, we are all immensely powerful fractals of the one and only source consciousness, which creates and animates all things. Now, of course, understanding this powerful truth is one thing. Applying this incredibly empowering wisdom to everyday life? Well, that's another, which is exactly why we provide you with a fresh serving of soul food for thought 5 days a week to help constantly remind you of what matters most. You are it. And I'm your host, Brandon Beecham. I'm the reflection and extension of you who will be here each Wednesday interviewing a different consciousness changemaker. And on the other 4 weekdays, leading the way to ensure that your perspective is consistently expanded, your vibration is constantly elevated, and your heart is overflowing and full. Also, before we jump into today's episode, I'd like to take about a minute and a half to tell you about a few sponsors that not only help to make it possible to produce this show 5 days a week, but that I'm also genuinely passionate about promoting. The first longtime stellar supporter of the show that I want to mention is Gaia. If you're not familiar, Gaia is the go-to source for streaming consciousness content online with over 8,000 video titles. And you can sign up for your first month for only 99 cents at gaia.com/positivehead. That's spelled GAIA.com/positivehead. The second sponsor I'm sincerely passionate about promoting is Purium. It's no mystery that bringing your mind, body, and spirit into balance is necessary if a person truly intends to manifest the greatest and grandest version of themselves. So if you've been looking for a way to easily get organic superfoods into your system every day with a simple plan that can help you reestablish a healthier foundation and relationship with food, like I was doing before I found Purium, I highly recommend going to positivehead.com/transformation and checking out the videos and interviews there where I dive deeply into discussions explaining why I take these products every day. And should you ultimately end up on iShopPurium.com to purchase any of their 50 plus amazing superfood products, be sure to use the code POSITIVEHEAD, all one word, for a 25% discount. All right, all you positive heads, it is a fabulous Thursday. Yes, that's a THABULOUS coming at you. The only fabulous Thursday around is right here on this podcast, folks. One and only exclusive. I've got the worst jokes. No one can have them. I'm laying down my copyright here and now. Hope you are having a wonderful, wonderful Thursday. Fabulous even. I know I am, and I am going to start off today's day of podcast land. Well, what am I going to talk about first before I read a review? I'm going to talk a little bit about trust and the idea, the concept, the reality, the truth that it's time for a new level of trust from you, from me, from all of us. Yes, all of us. It's time for a new level of trust. We're going to deep dive into that concept today with a little help from my fave, Abraham. But before we do, I would like to take a moment to read a review on iTunes. You guys know I love my iTunes reviews. Not only do they help us to reach new people, but they also help to fuel my fire to continue this labor of love. So if you haven't reviewed on iTunes, please do so. I would greatly appreciate it. And of course, share with your family, friends. Let them know. Let them play the game with the universe, perhaps at positivehead.com/universe. It is, I've noticed a lot of people are playing it, so it does my heart well to know that it's being shared and people are really enjoying that little co-creation with higher self. I'm thinking about putting actually at some point when I create even more time in this phase I'm in of bending time and space, becoming a master of time and space. One of the things at some point I'm going to add instead of just coming up with a number off the top of your head, also like a random number generator. So you push a button and it'll decide for you. So at some point that'll be there. But for now, you can use your brain as a random number generator. And back to my review here. This is from Dakar J, and the review starts with raising your vibration. Thank you, Brandon, and the seekers who are continually working to raise the vibration of the mass consciousness. I'm working daily on my vibration and putting out there what I want to see and experience in the world. After finding this podcast, I've been listening daily and have been led on many more adventures. Wholeness, balance, and vibration. Ooh, I got chills because part of what comes up in the Abraham talk I just referenced is creating more adventures for yourself. So you'll notice it being mentioned in there. And that stood out to me when I was listening to this. Like, yes, more adventures. That's what we all want. But there's all these fears that keep us from having these adventures, worried about stability and sort of things that tie us down and not understanding how we can get into that flow state. I mean, I have a lot of friends who are nomadic or go-matic, as I like to call them. They're on the go and letting life just unfold synchronistically. And, you backpack around and stay with different friends and things like that. And, it's obviously, I'm sure it has its challenges. Certainly I'm someone who loves my space and having a cozy space, but there's also something to be said. I always really admire those adventurers, you out there who are go-matic and you are like every day is a free flow to some degree. And, it doesn't mean you'll even necessarily live like that forever, van life or, however you're getting around. But I think it's a really great lesson for a lot of people, even like I said, if it's for some short period of time, just to experience all these things that we believe are creating stability for us. It's kind of a joke because life can be turned upside down in a blink of an eye. You don't really have control the way so many grapple for control. And if you can sort of, free fall into the flow of this epic stellar ocean, this universe that you're a part of, and allow the float to happen and not be so concerned that you'll be provided for, when that is the absolute nature of what's going on. Right? Learning to trust more is what's going to lead us to the next greatest and greatest version of ourselves. Complete trust. The holding on is what creates all the pain. When there's a fast moving stream that's ever increasing as our vibration increases, if you're trying to swim upstream, it gets more and more difficult. You get beat against the rocks. Whereas if you're floating down the river and allowing it to take you and just trusting that what you need will show up when it's supposed to show up, that becomes your game, right? And as she talks about in this clip I'm going to share in a few minutes, it doesn't mean give everything away and just be foolish, but it also doesn't mean cling to them, these things that give us, quote unquote stability like we've been accustomed to do, trained to do, our culture has taught us to do. And so it's really about finding the sacred flow, the sacred balance of trust and spontaneity and inviting in adventure, allowing that adventure to come into our lives. How many of you, if you think about it, would love more adventure, more new experiences that are magic filled, experiences that you're like, wow, I've got to pinch myself. This is happening to me. I've created the space in my life for this to be a part of my experience. And, once you start creating and making the space, becoming a vibrational alignment for those sorts of experiences to happen to you, then it's just like, it gets easier and easier. It's always the most difficult to get the ball rolling, right? And then when the momentum happens, I know people who their whole life is just like complete flow and magic and they just bounce around the world, in every experience. Like I said, not to say there's not challenges, but they embrace those challenges and there's so much upside, so much beauty and so much, synchronicity and flow and serendipity that unfolds, right? And I doubt there's anyone listening who's thinking, wow, that sounds awful. I don't want more of that in my life. Give me more of a routine. Give me more of the 9-to-5 grind where I have done the same thing on repeat for the last 5 years. And please give me another 25 of those, coming right up, get up. The alarm goes off at the same time. I do the exact same thing. I have the same meals. I, watch that TV show for an hour before I pass out and do the same thing again. We all can create more magic in our life. And I'm not saying you'll jump from A to Z necessarily, but if you set the intention, right, to yes, I am worthy of that. I'm calling more of that in. That is actually the natural way it's all meant to flow. So it doesn't mean there won't ever be obligations or work that needs to happen or any sort of, responsibilities, but there can be a much healthier flow. You're meant to be childlike. You're meant to be playful. You're meant to have adventures. That's what you came here to do and figure out. And if you haven't figured that out yet, that's okay. If you left that behind in, senior year when you graduated and it's all went away since or whenever, you adulted too hard, right? For me, make that, do what I've done. Make the commitment again to be the poster adult for childhood, right? George Bernard Shaw said, we don't stop playing because we grow old. We grow old because we stop playing. I don't know about you guys, but I am not getting old. I may age, but I ain't getting old. No way, no how. Not doing it. Not going to do it. I'll be that 110-year-old wearing like some funky clothes, like cutting it up on the dance floor. I'm not doing it. I am not walking around decrepit and tired and exhausted of this miserable life that was no fun. And we all have the potential to do that. And we're all on the path to doing it. And even if you haven't maybe seen the reflections of that, say, as much as I have, or if I haven't seen them as much as the reflections of maybe some other people I know, right? That's okay. We're all at our own unique point in that journey and that stop-off point to creating more of that. It starts with you setting the intention, committing to, maybe I have been in that very, cyclical routine for a long time, and I stopped playing a while ago. But every moment is another chance to turn it all around. Just by making the statement, I challenge you to make the statement. I implore you to make the statement right now. I am calling in more magic and adventure into my world. There, you said it, right? You set the intention. The universe is already just all the little elves behind the 3D curtain are doing cartwheels with excitement, first of all, that you made that statement. And now they're working all their magic to start moving and shifting things to make that happen for you. Isn't that epic to know and to be able to trust that you don't need to have the hows and all the details figured out? That's not your part of the journey. Your part of the journey is to get into vibrational alignment with what you want and then turn over rocks, follow the breadcrumbs, trust that it's coming and it's on its way and celebrating it now vibrationally. Celebrate it now. You've already done it. You already been there, done that, gotten the t-shirt for every epic adventure that could be that you would ever want to have from this moment forward. It's just a choice. And it's time for you to make that choice more fully. All right, let's take a listen to Abraham here on a rampage. I found this on the Travis Eric YouTube page, and it's titled Rampage, Complete Trust in Life. Take a listen.
You represent the momentum of allowing. The entire world and all of its inhabitants have been contributing to this vortex. And so the growth and the expansion and the potential for such has been happening all along. But what you represent is a deliberate discovery of reception of the things that have been being asked for a long time. So that's why we call it the time of awakening or the time of reawakening. The time of finally consciously, not just accidentally stumbling into a good mood and getting a flash of enlightenment that lasts only 3 days, but a conscientious awareness of how it all works and a deliberate application of the skills that I possess in order to hold myself consistently so that momentum can ensue, so that I can track, so that it's chartable and trackable, so that I can watch my mood translate into manifestations and know for sure that worthy me, worthy deliberate creator me has accomplished this just like I intended when I decided to come. There is so much more to the vehicle that is moving you through life than this vehicle, this car that you are thinking is transporting you to one place or another. And there is so much more to your guidance than this Waze or Magellan or Garmin or whatever the navigational system is that you're using. There's so much more to your guidance system than there are these physical things or contraptions that you're using to guide you. With all of that, the reason that you kept knowing that everything's all right, that the vehicle doesn't really matter because there'll always be another, there's always another way to get to wherever I'm wanting to be, and that the navigational system doesn't even matter because there's always a way to know. Because things are always working out for you, there always is another way. The guidance that you're seeking is not where most of you are looking, you see. You drag so much stuff around with you. Esther practically lives out of a suitcase, and each trip her suitcase weighs just slightly more than it did the trip before, until it reaches a sort of breaking point where no one is willing to pick it up. Every time her bag comes back, it has the heavy tag on it because it is heavy. And so what we're getting at is, as you release the feeling that you need to, for a sense of security, drag all this stuff with you, and instead you accept yourself as this being who is moving through space and time with resources that are coming to you from a non-physical level that can be translated moment by moment as you need them, then you are truly free. The more you drag around, the more you enhance your sense of vulnerability. We're speaking specifically and directly to you. This is what you've been trying to say for a long time. I don't have to justify my well-being by what I'm dragging around, because whatever I need, whenever I need it, will appear before me. And while that made a lot of you feel insecure, Esther, even in the middle of the conversation, is thinking, no, Abraham, I'm not giving up that or that or that or that or that. I really like this stuff that I'm dragging around with me. But we want you to feel the freedom in accepting your right place and right time in the universe, and the resourcefulness that the universe has in yielding to you whatever you need whenever you need it, whatever you want whenever you want it. And so feel the freedom in that, the security in that. That's really what we want you to practice. And so as we are feeling around in this room, as we make that statement, there are some things that you do for the sake of stability and security that hold you apart from the adventure that you really want. And the adventure is the newness. And so this is the assurance that we want to give you. This puts it all together in a way that you can feel confident and comfortable and secure while you are in your adventurous, out here on the leading edge state of mind. Now, this is how it all fits together. Through life, you came, you didn't know too much. There were those around you, your beautiful parents, who guided you as best they could. And through it all, you managed to create a vibrational reality that is to die for. And when you do, you'll know what we mean. It is this environment of well-being with details beyond verbal description. So here is this reality that you are allowing yourself to realize a little more and a little more and a little more all the time. As this reality exists, it exists in perfection, and everything has been worked out. All the conflicts have been worked out because everyone gets what they want. All the shortage has been worked out because no one is ever deprived of anything when someone else receives it. It is endless in its expansion. Everything that humans worry about is non-existent in this vortex. Everything that you want, all the solutions to everything, all the expansion about everything, it already exists, you see. It's all been worked out. So as you get into the receptive mode and you allow yourself then to be on your journey, not worrying about whether your vehicle is solid or stable, not worrying about whether your phone will stay charged enough that the Maps application can give you the route that you need, but instead trusting that everything always works out for you. You allow this vortex to yield to you what you want when you want it, what you need when you need it, and it's the way that you intended to go through life. Did you notice you didn't bring any of that stuff with you when you came? Now, don't misunderstand us. We're not trying to get you to lighten your load and give everything away. We're not trying to get you to let loose of the things that are important to you. In fact, the opposite is what our message is to you. But we do want you to understand that the stability that you're looking for doesn't lie in the physical things that you've been giving it the credit of. And so, since you're sifting this out, since you're sorting this out, since you're wanting to demonstrate this, then you are sort of in a little minor, won't last too long, phase of destroying the things around you that most people are looking at the reason for stability, while you still find stability where it's really coming from. Now, you don't have to do that. You can drive the most dynamic, awesome car that has ever been created and still be in vibrational alignment with your source energy. You do not have to get rid of the physical stability. This is the thing that we want you to hear. Don't need it to be stable. Be stable and then let it show itself to you as evidence of your stability. That's the biggest discernment that we want you to hear, and we've talked about that already here. And so a sort of rejecting of what the world thinks. There are so many people that want abundance but condemn it. And the reason that so many condemn it is because it feels like not enough have it. And so they're mad at those that do have it by condemning those that do have it, and not even realizing that they're preventing themselves from receiving the very abundance that already is lined up for them. So everything that we've been talking about in all these hours that we've been together today, all that we ever talk about ever, is that you came into this time-space reality knowing that it, in its wholeness, in its diversity, in its differences, provides the basis for you as a selfishly focused, you got to be that because it's all you've got, individual, to receive from it whatever it is you are wanting whenever you are wanting. And if you can, just for a little while, just for a day or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 or 20, just for a little while, if just for a little while following this conversation you can not look to the action manifested stability that you have around you. We're talking about your house, your home, your relationships, your money, your bank account. If just for a little while you can just set that aside and let it be whatever it be, while you look to your true stability, which is your alignment with source. And in doing so, you accept the perfection of what's in this vortex. You're going to experience that sweet spot that we've been talking about, where things just keep showing up for you when you want them. Jerry took Esther, when they were first married, on a almost month-long river ride in Montana. And they had a motorhome that they towed a car behind, and they had a rubber raft that they had on top of the car. And they would drive way, 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 way upstream and leave one vehicle downstream and one vehicle upstream, and then they would float all day down the river back to the vehicle. And as they spent that time on the river, Jerry was an avid fly fisherman. It's what he liked more than anything. And he would take his rod and his creel, and he would get into one of these mountain streams, and Esther would watch him from a distance, and he would just run up the river. And she would say, "How do you do that? Are you walking on water?" She couldn't understand. And he said, "There's always a rock for me to put my foot on." He said, "Come with me, I'll show you." Well, there was not always a rock for Esther to put her foot on. She got so wet and so cold so often, bruised her ankles and her knees, slippery, slimy rocks. How is he doing that? But he'd been doing it for so long, he knew, he was just confident that when he decided to go, there was always going to be a rock for him to put his foot on. And this is the thing that we want you to show yourself, that this vortex is abundant with everything that you want. But more than that, there is a very defined, very clearly designed, very much understood path of least resistance known by your inner being. We say the path of least resistance because your inner being knows where all the resistant pieces are that you've been laying along your trail. And if you will get into a more trusting place, your inner being will guide you around that resistance to the things that you're really wanting to experience. And so we know this has been a long way of getting around to the fact that you can be or do or have anything that you want. And while you think that it's one thing, or another thing or a lot of things in terms of manifestation. What it really is to be in that sweet spot where you know that all is well with you, and if you can think it, it will deliver itself to you moment by moment by moment by moment by moment. You get into those little rivers where that happens to you. You have those experiences where you know it. We want you to get into the place where you know it all day, every day, where every single person and every single conversation and every single thing that you witness, you accept it as the gift that you have been asking for, that is doing one of two things. It's either contributing to your vortex or it's contributing to your alignment. In other words, it's either helping you with step 1 or it's helping you with step 3. And both are necessary for the constant, joyous evolution and expansion that you've all come here for. The basis of your life is absolute freedom. No one can vibrate for you. The result of your life is never-ending growth and expansion. You are eternal beings. You're not ever going to shut that down. You're never going to stop being, you see. But if you will let your quest, what matters to you most, if you will turn your sights upon how you feel, if you will care about the joyous aspect of this, if you will care about being happy, if you will let being happy be more important than being right, if you let being happy be more important than owning something right now or being with someone right now, if you will let just being happy in this moment, if you will let that be your dominant quest, it is our promise to you that it won't take long before you will find the universe unfolding for you in ways that you cannot deny how blessed you are, how fortunate you are, and how much the object of attention you are by source energy who is well aware of you and where you stand right now. We offer too many words. We do. We offer too many words. And in doing so, we cause you to be too thoughtful about it, or too intellectual about it, or too busy about it. If we were standing in your physical shoes, we would think right now of the things that you most enjoy doing. We would start serving your happiness first, and everything that is responsible will fill in around it. Service your happiness first, and everything that matters will fill in around it.
You represent the momentum of allowing. A conscientious awareness of how it all works is what is very crucial at this time. There's, you think about, oh, I missed my opportunity. I missed my boat. It's too late for me. All those stories that are lies, right? Well, they're not lies, actually. They're true. Whether you say think you can or think you can't, you're right. Abracadabra, as you speak, you create. So let's create a different story. The real story, the truth of the truth, the ultimate highest thing that you can do is understand and create the truth that there's always another way to get to where you want to be. And the universe is always working out for you. Accept yourself, she said, as a being with resources that are coming to you from non-physical all the time. You don't need to drag around a bunch of stuff to hold. You didn't come here with anything. You're not going to, you came in your birthday suit. You're going to leave in your birth into non-physical suit. You really don't need to be dragging around all these things. It doesn't mean get rid of everything, but don't be so attached to all the stuff. I mean, think about it. If you had unlimited abundance at your disposal, like you couldn't lose, like, well, how worried would you be about losing anything? Feeling the freedom, she said, of knowing you're in the right place and right time in the universe for this to unfold for you now, for this new chapter, this new perspective, this new awareness. So this super resourceful universe can now take you and deliver you into this new way of free flowing through your life. She said the things you're doing for stability and security, that's what's holding you apart from the adventure you really want. You want the newness. No one ends up on their deathbed and says, man, I wish I had more cars. That would have really made the difference. They say, I wish I'd spent more time with my family. I wish I'd taken more vacations. I wish I'd created, the time and space for the things that I really wanted and not figured out 1,000,001 ways to say why not. And she talks about in the vortex where it's all already happened. It's all already been worked out. All the conflicts have been worked out. Everything has already been worked out in the vortex, and it's there waiting for you to get in tune with it, to become a vibrational match with it. How you do it is you don't do something like work in order to have something like money, in order to be something like happy. The normal sort of way people are doing things, do, have, be. You want to be it to see it. You want to be happy You'll be filled with that sense of adventure. And then you find yourself doing and having the things that reflect that. She kept reiterating, your stability doesn't lie in these physical things. They can be taken in a blink. And, she said, you got to be really careful, like saying to get rid of all this. Like you don't need this stuff to be stable. That's the thing. You can have it. You can let the nicest car in the world show up as your evidence of your stability, but not the other way around where it's defining you and it becomes your whole point for you to sell it to yourself that you're stable. That's where we're doing it backwards, right? Let it show up as the evidence of your inner stability in trust and knowing of how the game actually works. By knowing how this game works, you can now play it in a way that makes you much more adept. If I'm on the football field and trying to hit a home run, I'm probably not going to be the star athlete that gets the most valuable player award at the end, right? So let's play the game by the rules. These are the rules. This is how it works. Get playing in a way that brings more wins your way. And so many are so busy condemning abundance, and which, of course, is what prevents it from showing up. There is unlimited abundance. That's one of the conversations I've been having with, the people that are coming to the Mystic Manor, and that I'm realizing for myself is there's unlimited abundance at my disposal by making, in their case, when they're choosing, and there's been quite a few who's like, okay, this is going to be a stretch for me financially. And of course, I'm working with them and working things out to the best of my ability and giving payment plans and even some price reduction if it really is necessary and all those things. And by the way, if you guys are interested in that, I'd love to talk to you about it. You can book like 15 minutes with me to discuss calendly.com/optimistic show. And of course, optimistic is spelled MYSTIC. But yeah, I've been talking to folks about it, and it's been such an epic adventure for me to have that experience and see, oh, wow, these are reflections of me doing the same thing for them. The same way the show is a huge, huge leap for me, $700 probably plus $1,000 over the course of the year to manifest, to create all the things that I'm, the experience and the 37 episodes of the show and all the things. It's like, it's a huge leap of faith, but I realize it doesn't cost me anything. It creates abundance. This is how you create abundance, by saying, yes, I believe, I trust, I'm willing to disrupt this super cozy, comfortable lifestyle I have right now. It's all getting 8 years in the same place. That is so epic. Everyone who's ever been here loves my place. I'm walking away from it in like 30 days into the unknown, into a situation where all the I's and T's haven't been dotted yet, and all the T's haven't been crossed. But I have so much trust. I know, and of course, I'm seeing it all come together in divine timing. Right. And so it's the same thing for all of us when it comes to this whole thing of abundance. The abundance is already lined up for us, as she said. You don't condemn it. You create abundance by being abundant and taking the plunge to create things in your life. That's how the universe says, oh, you're worthy of this, that, or the other. Oh, okay, why didn't you say so? Now we just created money to come out of a direction that you never even saw coming, right? And that's exactly what I'm doing. That's exactly how I'm leveling up myself. And so it's been really cool to see, all of you, and all of you who are coming, the 30 some, almost maybe 40 that are already signed up to come out of the 111 spots over the July 2019 to July 2020 and stay with me for a week at the Mystic Manor and be on this podcast actually and be on the live taping of The Optimistic and all of that. I applaud you because I know with some of you, it's really stepping yourself out on a limb to pay for it. And to work out that, even though we're working out payment plans and all those things, it's like, I get it. And it's like, you are going to actually create more abundance in the process, the same way I am. It's not costing me $750,000. It's going to make me infinite abundance. Just more, who knows how much, a lot, right? Ultimately, that I'm just going to use to help empower more people to create abundance for themselves. We are abundance generating machines. And the story we tell around abundance, it's time to rewrite that story. There's so many living in lack. There's enough for everyone on this planet to live completely abundantly. And the powers, the systems that have held it back from happening, they're being disrupted right now. And you don't help that by hating on abundance itself and living in lack. You know, as Wayne Dyer said, you can't be sick enough to help sick people. You can't be poor enough to help poor people. We create abundance. We call it in from the infinite source of abundance that created not only this whole planet, the entire universe, and everything beyond the physical. You call in more energy from those realms by being in alignment with an abundant mentality. And the thing is, as she said, so many want to condemn it, and that prevents all the abundance that's already lined up for you in your vortex. All the things that you really want, all those experiences are already there, happened in no time, in eternity, waiting for you. The future version of you has already done it. It's what timeline are you going to choose this time? Choose the abundant one. I love the story, how she talked about Jerry finding the rocks. He's leaping and probably looking down in his excitement. He's probably leaping half the time and not even knowing where the next rock's going to land, or a split second before he leaps, right? And that's the difference between his flow and what her flow was. He was in doing something that he absolutely loved. He was the excited child, and the rocks appeared for him. And ultimately how she ended it, let being happy be more important than everything. Service your happiness first, and everything that matters will fill in around it. What a good one. I loved this rampage by her and me and you. I love where your heart's at right now. So excited. So much has opened up. So much new adventure is opening up for me and all of us that are co-creating the Mystic Manor experience. I hope some of you will come. Some more that, there's still 2/3 of the spots left. You can also email me, Brandon@positivehead.com, if you have a question or anything. But, otherwise go to my Calendly and schedule time. With that being said, I have a track to leave you with. This is ADM-X Eve. So Adam X Eve. Adam kisses Eve. As an X stand for a kiss. Adam X Eve. This is Ivory Tower. I like this track. Hope you do too. Till next time, journey well. May you manifest much adventure. Also, before we cue up today's song, I wanted to let you all know that we have finally created the Game with the Universe on our website, where you can choose the first number that comes to your mind, and it'll pull up that episode number of the podcast. I've been saying this is a great way to co-create synchronicity and magic with your higher self for quite some time by doing this manually. But now if you go to positivehead.com/YO universe, there is a super fun and simple interface to play this game with your higher self. I firmly believe just by setting the intention to play in this way, it opens up the door for magic, and it's a synchronistic way to hone in on nuggets of wisdom out of the huge catalog of episodes that are specifically appropriate for you at this time in your journey to becoming the next greatest and grandest version of yourself. And it also makes for a super fun way to engage and invite friends, family, people on social media to check out the podcast as well. So be sure to check out positivehead.com/YOUNIVERSE, and be sure to tell all your friends so they can play a game with the universe, which also helps the show to reach new people, which I greatly appreciate. And as a quick reminder, be sure to also check out positivehead.com/transformation if you're curious to learn more about Purium superfoods and why I take them every day. On this journey of becoming the next greatest and grandest version of ourselves that we have all embarked upon, I can't stress the importance of managing your physical vibration enough. And quite honestly, Purium has put together the simplest plan I've found to do so, and I'm sincerely excited to share it with all of you. Lastly, if you're craving more consciousness elevating content, be sure to check out Gaia, which is my personal go-to source for streaming consciousness content on the web, where you can stream an incredible 7,000 plus exclusive videos covering 5,000 years of wisdom. As you all hear me constantly say, it's a daily conscious effort to maintain an elevated vibration. And if you're looking to journey deep down the rabbit hole to do so, then Gaia is the best place I know of to do it, period. And you can sign up for your first month for only 99 cents at gaia.com/positivehead. That's spelled GAIA.com/positivehead. Check it out.